Ahankarta, nahankarta, nahankarta. I am not the doer, I am not the doer. Thou art the doer, O Mother. The whole universe, Sri Krishna says, is engaged in this yajna. That is the yajna of action. One who desists from making the offerings into this yajna, from doing this, performing this yajna, he calls them as stena or as thieves. Or he also says that they are sinners. That is to say, you take so much from the universe and you do not give back anything to the universe. That is stealth. Therefore, rolling this wheel of yajna chakra, is very important. While we receive, we give back. Give back to nature, give back to society, give back to our posterity, and so on and so forth. Do not try to withhold. That is the idea. And he also says that doing this, one gets released from bondage. So he says that you will be released from bondage if you keep this wheel of yajna rolling. What happens is, when we have this attitude that any action that I am performing is a yajna, that ownership that I am doing becomes less and less, and a time comes when we become totally guided by the divine will. We sometimes, out of jest or out of even humility, we sometimes say, oh, whatever is happening is the will of the divine. That is very good. If we are very 100% convinced that it is the will of the divine, then whatever is being done to us or to the others is also the will of the divine. He is doing it. I am not doing it. Ahankarta, nahankarta, nahankarta. I am not the doer, I am not the doer. Thou art the doer, O Mother. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Ami jantro tumi jantri. I am the machine and you are the operator. As thou makest me do, I shall do. And so that is a very high stage, no doubt, but one can reach that state. Who can reach that state? Sri Krishna here gives the example of Janakadayaha, Janaka and others. Janaka was a king. He performed all of his actions to the perfection, but yet he was so detached that he says Mithilayam Vidagdhayam. Even if somebody, there was a fire in the palace of Janaka, and everybody became concerned and came and reported it to him, and please do something, get out of this palace and do something. And he was not at all perturbed by it at all. He said, well, this palace and everything belongs to the divine. And if the divine feels that it has to go back to the divine, let it go back. That is the kind of attitude that Janaka had. Whatever actions he performed, he didn't have that mamatva, that this is mine. Me and mine is ignorance. We have spoken about this earlier also. Sri Ramakrishna always used to say that this attachment to this little I, this puny I, me and mine, that means this belongs to me, this is mine, I own it, that sense of ownership is very dangerous. The sense of ownership is very dangerous. Yes, for the sake of our vyavahara, that means for the sake of our dealings, we use those words. But internally, we should not have that. I will come to that in a minute. Now, Sri Krishna starts the second topic about the karma. Here he says that if you are very spiritual and you want to, if you are spiritual and do not want to do any work, because there is no need for you to do any work, even then, even if you are very spiritual, he says, Loka sangrahame vapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. So this is the second point Sri Krishna gives, is that forget that you are a jnani, that you are a knowledgeable person and that you do not have any duty. There is no doubt about that. But even for the sake of Loka sangraha, it's a very great concept. Sangraha means samyagraha. That means to join together, to put together. That is called as sangraha. So Loka sangraha means to join together, to bring together, and to make others succeed in the path of progress. This is the meaning of Loka sangraha. Even for the sake of Loka sangraha, that means for the sake of joining everyone, for the sake of helping everyone. The term helping is a little bit ambiguous, but for the sake of joining everyone, it is essential that you perform this action. That is what Sri Krishna is trying to say. And then he says that you must lead by example. Yat yat acharati sreshta. In the 21st verse, we studied that whatever the sreshtaha, whatever the wise people do, or whatever people in authority, or whatever people in high positions do, the others follow it. Even for that, to set an example for others, you must perform your action to the best of your ability with dexterity. This is something which Sri Krishna is very emphatic about. Before Sri Krishna's time, there was the performance of yajnas and yagas, etc. was there. It was solely meant to gain something. All these yajnas, etc. were being performed with an end in view. But then Sri Krishna gives us this knowledge about anasakta karma. That means work without any expectations. And so he says here that even if you have realized the ultimate, yet you should set such an example as to not make others lazy. If you are lazing around, then others also will think that is the path that I need to follow, and they will laze around. And there is a saying in Punjabi or in Hindi, Sirdar to Sardar. He alone, Sardar, Sikh Sardars. Sirdar, one who can give his head, one who can offer one's head. He alone can be a Sardar. He alone can be a leader. A leader can be one who is able to sacrifice oneself and should be able to lead by example. In the life of Sri Ramakrishna, we find this, that even though he was he was a knowledgeable person and he had attained to the highest knowledge, there was no need for him to perform any actions. Yet, day and night he was engaged in training the youngsters who later became the Swamis of the Ramakrishna order, and also he used to go taking all the trouble from Dakshineshwar to Kolkata and meet devotees and try and talk to them and try to imbue in them the sense of devotion to God. So it was not necessary for him to do it. He could have just sat at one corner of the temple Dakshineshwar and could have been absorbed in Samadhi. But no, he did not do it. He went door to door. So Sri Ramakrishna Swami Vivekananda, in the song of Vesper songs, Arati song, he calls Sri Ramakrishna as Karma Kathor. That means one who was engaged continuously in action, Karma Kathor. So this is necessary for this leading by example is very much necessary. I was reminded of an incident in the life of Swami Vivekananda. Swamiji returned from the West in, I think first time was in 1897 after his first visit. And then he had several disciples, mostly women, Sister Nivedita and others. And Swamiji was a Jitakama, that means one who had risen about all the temptations in his life. And Swamiji once, he and the other disciples, along with a few Swamis, they were going to Amarnath in the Himalayas, in the Kashmir. And in those days, there was not the transport was not as easy as it is today. So they had to walk on foot for long periods of time. For many days, they had to walk. And he took the most difficult route to go from Baltal. He took the most difficult route to go to Amarnath. And with him were some of the Western lady disciples, and there were some Swamis also. Now, going up, you had to pitch the tents every now and then. Every day you had to pitch up the tents. And so Swamiji, the lady disciples requested Swamiji, why don't you pitch your tents next to ours over here, so that we are encouraged. We hear about Yeti and other dangerous creatures over here. So why don't you pitch over here? If we know that you are nearby, we will have strength of mind. We will not feel afraid. So Swamiji was almost thinking, all right, if that is so, let us do. But in the meantime, one of his disciple monks came and told Swamiji, we know that you are a great soul, but just to set an example for others, please do not stay anywhere near them. Come to our tent and stay there. It's quite far. Immediately Swamiji said, you are right, you are correct. I should not set a bad example for others. So it is very true that a sannyasin has to place before himself and before others also a very high example, a great example. So Sri Krishna here says that sa yat acharati sreshtaha, whatever the sreshtaha, that means people in high positions, in high levels, they must place an example before others. Sayat pramanam kurute. And then in the 22nd verse, Sri Krishna reiterates it and says, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam vartaye vachakarmani. Say, Name Partha, O son of Pritha, in all the three worlds, there is nothing that is binding on me as duty. Neither is there anything that I have to gain, nor anything that I cannot gain. Still, I am always engaged in work. So, he is always engaged in work. Sri Krishna is Atma Kama. That means his desire is only in realization of the self. Jnani's state is that. And he is also Akama. No other external desires are there. Yet, he tries to perform his action. And Sri Krishna says, look, you may think that I gave the example of Janaka, and somebody, some brainy person may come and say that, well, all those stories about Janaka and all that might be an imagination of a poet or some composer. It may be a story. So they may not accept it. But therefore, I am giving my own example. See, I was born in a prison. I was not privileged there. Then the Kamsa, Jarasandha and Kamsa, they all tried to somehow kill me. But yet I lived somehow without any privileges. I lived over there. And yet now I am your Sarathi. I am your charioteer. What need was there for me to become your charioteer? If you had asked some strength from me, then I would have given some strength to another driver who could have driven your chariot. Yet I didn't do it. I came, and I myself am being your charioteer over here. Therefore, Name Parthasti Karta, there is nothing that I have to gain. There is nothing that I will lose. By not performing, I will not lose anything. By performing something, I am not going to gain anything. Name Parthasti Kartavyam Trishu Lokeshu Kinchana. Then he says in the 23rd verse, Yadi hyaham navarteyam jatu karmanyatandritaha mama vartmanu vartante manushyah partha sarvashaha. O son of Pritha, if I did not ever continue in action unwearied, men all around would have followed my way. Others will also think that he is not working. Let us also not do that work. Atantritaha, he says, I am working day and night without even tandra, without any sleep also. So I am continuously working with you. Mama vartma anuvartante. Mama vartma. People will follow whatever I do. Therefore, I need to do it. A father or a mother plays with the child. When the child starts learning to walk, the father or the mother takes the cart or the walker, and then will try to show the child how to walk. Otherwise, the child will not learn how to walk. So in the same way, Sri Krishna it is not necessary for the parents to do it, but yet they do it so that the child can learn without hurting himself or herself. Therefore, mama vartma anuvartantante. People will follow my way, mama vartma. Then he says in the 24th verse, Utsideyurime loka nakuryam karma chedaham sankarasya cha kartasyam upahanyami mah prajaha. Utsideyurime loka. If I were not to work, all these worlds would have perished. If I am lazy, I will be destroying everyone. I would have been the cause of confusion among men and of their ultimate destruction, because he had to set this wheel of karma, this wheel of action. The Lord sometimes comes, sometimes it goes off the track, and that is why the Avatara comes again and again to put us back onto the track, so that we can go onto the track and then reach the destination without engaging in much conflict and all that. In the next verse, that is the 25th verse, Sri Krishna talks about two types of people, the enlightened and the unenlightened. Saktah karmanya vidvamso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryat vidvams tatha sakta chikirshur loka sangraham. O the greatest of the Bharata race, just as ignorant men do action out of attachment, so let enlightened ones perform the same unattached with the good of the world in view. See, he says that if I am unenlightened, then my work will be only done to fatten my ego or to fatten my pockets if I am unenlightened. But if I work for others, that is for the welfare of all, then it is enlightened work. So Gita emphasizes this philosophy of interdependence. So Swami Vivekananda, I would read out from Swami Vivekananda's famous words. So long as millions live in hunger and ignorance, I hold every person a traitor who, having been educated at their expense, pays not the least heed to them. Very strong words. One who does not, having been educated at their expense, why, if you do not pay the least heed towards them, I hold them as a traitor. That is what it is. See, now that we are facing the pandemic in 1900, if I am not wrong, there was a plague in Kolkata. Hundreds and thousands of people were dying. They were dying on the roads. The roads were full of dead bodies. So Swami Vivekananda was in Darjeeling at that time. His health was very bad, and he had high diabetes, and he had gone there to recoup his health. But he came down to Kolkata. Others said to him, "No, Swamiji, if you come down, you will also contract this disease, and you will be we can't lose you." But Swami Vivekananda did not listen to it. So he came down from Darjeeling, and then he started camps wherein people who were afflicted by the plague, they were brought in, just like what we have with the quarantine facilities now, in a very humble manner. Swami Vivekananda started quarantine facilities, and then he also came up with a manifesto wherein he spoke about how to maintain hygiene, how to keep distance with people. Today we are talking about social distancing and all of that. Swamiji, he had envisaged, if you someday I will post that manifesto so that you will see all that we do today here was spoken about by Swami Vivekananda in those days. And then he had started such camps everywhere, providing medicines and food and other things, because people were very much afraid. They were not keeping their own near and dear ones who were having the cholera plague within their houses. They would just take them and leave them outside their house. At that time, Sister Nivedita, Margaret Noble, who became Sister Nivedita, she personally went from house to house, and she brought people to her little home over there, cleaned them, washed them, and then gave them a thorough sanitation and all that. And some of them passed away and some of them became alive. So that's what they did at that time. And then Swamiji did another. There was no money left in the center to pay for all the expenses. So he said, well, if that is so, doesn't matter. We shall sell Belur Math. the Belur Math is our headquarters. He said, we will sell. We are sannyasins. We can go and live under the trees. It is not necessary for us to have all these buildings over here. I will go and sell everything. So he made the decision to sell away. It would have fetched several thousand rupees or in those days. Anyway, at that time, the word went to Holy Mother Sharda Devi, and she told somebody, you tell Naren, that's how she used to call him, you tell Naren that this organization or these buildings, the Belur Math, does not belong to him. It is not for him to sell it away. It doesn't belong to him. She had that far-sightedness. It is in the name of Sri Ramakrishna. It is he who is the owner of it. He doesn't have the right to sell it away. Anyway, by the blessings of the divine, right at that moment, some extra money came through, and that Swami Vivekananda kept quiet. As soon as he heard that Holy Mother Sharda Devi has sent this message, he just kept quiet. He would not have any word against that. Anyway, so that is what it is. Here, Saktah Karmani Avidvamsaha, Avidvan, unenlightened are those who will only look after their own welfare and not of the welfare of others. They do action only out of attachment to themselves, to their families, immediate families, and so on and so forth. But Sri Krishna says, yes, everyone has this attitude within oneself, or this kind of urge to help oneself. But let the same kind of urge be there for those who are enlightened. That means let them put that same kind of the same kind of enthusiasm in whatever they are doing for the welfare of others. That is a great thing. It doesn't mean that because you are doing social work, it doesn't mean that you should do it in a haphazard manner. You should do it with totally disinterestedly. No, the disinterest should be within yourself. There is another sacred text called the Yoga Vashishta. Yoga Vashishta is a text where sage Vashishta gives instructions. It is mainly Advaitic knowledge. He gives instructions to Sri Rama. So there he beautifully says this verse comes there. He says, Bahihi Kritrima Samrabhyo Abhyantaha Samrabhavarjitaha Karta Bahirakarta Antarloke Pihara Raghava. O Raghava, O Rama, you work in such a manner that people will think that this person has great urge or a desire to work in such a manner. But let there be no storm inside him. So you must work as if you are working in a storm. That means you are working against the nature itself. But within yourself, let there be that calmness. In his first address, in an address to the new monks of the Ramakrishna order, Swami Vivekananda, they were the first batch of sannyasins whom Swami Vivekananda initiated into monastic life. There he said, I want to see here people of such nature who will be able to go to the garden, pick up the vegetables, carry it on their head, sell it in the market, then come back. But at the same moment, at a moment's notice, you must be able to go and then sit under a tree and completely merge yourself in deep meditation. From intense action to intense solitude. It means going within yourself. That is the type of people that I wish to see. These are the ideals that these great people have put before us. So he says, just as ignorant men do action out of attachment, so let enlightened ones perform the same unattached with the good of the world in view. I have already said that loka sangraha, that means for the good of the world, so that everyone unites, that I carry everyone along with me. I have seen Sri Ramakrishna's beautiful example is there. Sri Ramakrishna says, 3 friends were walking on a meadow, a big empty space, miles and miles of empty space. As they were walking, they saw that there was a huge wall in the middle of the meadow, and they heard some sweet music coming from the other side. So they were all curious to know what is happening over there. So they somehow, one of them, they picked him up, and then they said, you first see what is there on the other side, and then you let us know. So 2 of them, they stood on one another, and then the third one on the other, and then they somehow looked at what was going on. He looked at what was going on, and with a great surprise, he just, without a word, he just jumped onto the other side. And the second one, by that time, they found out a ladder somewhere, and then the second one said, all right, let me go. What a useless fellow this guy is. So let me go. So he climbed up through the ladder, and he went up the wall, and he looked behind and said, there is a great mart of joy over there. There is great fun over there. I am going. You do whatever you want. And he jumped onto the other side. The third one also, he went up and saw what was going on over there, came back, descended through the ladder, and then went out, and then told all the people who were there far off in some village, look, there is a place where there is great fun going on. You do not miss. Come, let us go. So what did he do? He went and he took others also along with him. Saying this, Sri Ramakrishna says, the first type of person is one who is happy to just eat the mango and wipe off his face and not let others know what is there. So most selfish type of people. So the second one is one, yes, he is able to give some indication, but he is so desirous of enjoying or joining the party that he goes there and then he merges over there. But the third type of person is one who sees what is going on over there. He knows what joy is there, and then so he comes back and then makes others also go along with him and enjoy that wonderful party over there. So that is what the jnanis are. Some of the jnanis are. So they perform the same work unattached with the good of the world in view. 26th verse, Sri Krishna says, Na buddhi bedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yukta samacharan. An enlightened man should not cause confusion in the minds of ignorant people by his conduct. Himself working with equanimity He should make them interested in all activities. That is to say, do not unsettle the understanding of those who are on the lower level. Swami Vivekananda used to say that our method should be to raise everyone, not by throwing them, try to throw them up towards the other side, but by leading them hand in hand, taking them step by step. Do not show a very high ideal and say that it is there, go. So whatever dangers you face is your problem. No, don't do that. Rather, try to go with them. So he says, do not unsettle the understanding. The other thing is, some people's understanding might not be the same understanding that you have. Do not say that this alone must be followed. No. They all have to grow according to their own law of growth. These are Swami Vivekananda's words. Every person is traveling from truth to truth, from truth that is lower to truth that is higher. Everyone must follow their own law of growth. These are the words of Swami Vivekananda. Do not just show a very high ideal and then throw them over there. A good teacher is one who will be able to come down to the level of a student, who will be able to come to the level of the student and then slowly lift him or her up. That is the definition of a good teacher. Slowly, without forcing. The example that is given is that if you have to catch a moving train, then we need to run along with the train and then get up over there. Not just throw ourselves onto the train. We need to go along with the train. And many people, they lose their lives because they try to just jump over there and then they lose their lives. Swami Atmanandaji, one of our saints, he used to, Swami's is no more there, he used to give an example of one of his friends or somebody. He used to say that this gentleman was unmarried and he didn't have any encumbrances, but he was doing excellent work in society. He was doing a lot of social work, was very much engaged in social work and was very happy doing all the work. Then one day came to his house a certain holy person and he said, "What is it that you are doing? You do not have any encumbrances at all. Why are you getting engaged so much in all of these activities? It'll be only binding you. It will bind you and you will get attached to the work that you are doing. So give up all of this and come with me, or you go somewhere else." So he gave up whatever he was doing and he went away along with that holy person. And unfortunately, his mind could not get settled in spiritual practices that we is doing, the japa, taking the name of the Lord, or in meditation, or in practicing austerities and other things, which this monk was teaching him. And after a year or so, he became very frustrated, so much so that he became an enemy of the monk. He became an enemy, and then he came back, but he could not get settled back in the life that he had given up. His mind became quite deranged, if I can call that. So that is what Janayed Ajnanam. So do not try to unsettle the understanding of the people, or do not try to raise everyone from the level that they are over there. Therefore, that is what is important. So how to save ourselves from such a predicament? So that is where we need to lead by example. First of all, we need to understand what is there for us. We need to be convinced. That means intellectually and emotionally, I must be totally convinced that what I am taking up is good for me. So if I do not find that convincing enough for myself, let me not unnecessarily jump into it. Nowadays it is a fashion everywhere, unfortunately, that you will get illumination within 24 hours or within 4 hours. That was in the Sydney Olympic Park once. We had a book stall, and next to that there was a tent, and somebody had put up the board. The person who was running it, he said that illumination in 45 minutes. Spiritual illumination in 45 minutes. So that was the board that was given. And people were paying $20, $25 to get in, go in, and come out. Of course. So if that is what it is being offered. Unfortunately, no. There is no shortcut for spiritual success. So that's why Patanjali, the great yogic, saying, he says, Satu Dirghakala Nairantarya Satkara Asevito Dradabhumihi. You will become established in that high state of spiritual attainment only through great effort. Dirghakala. It will take a long time. Do not look for shortcuts, quick fixes. Dirghakala Nairantarya. It must be continuous. Not that we are studying this Bhagavad Gita today and we are discussing something today and you forget about it for the next 15 days. No, that's not. Whatever we study, we should go back into it and try to read it or try to understand it, try to remember it every day, a little by little, put into practice a little bit, whatever has been said, whatever Sri Krishna says. Nairantarya Satkara Asevitaha. That means one must have Satkara. Satkara means one must have total respect to what I am learning and have the faith that this is going to give me the ultimate result, that is ultimate realization. Asev. Then only you will be established firmly in spiritual life. So he says that do not try to unsettle the understanding of others. Na buddhi bedam vidvan yuktaha samacharan. Vidvan is a person of high attainment, is known as vidvan. Enlightened person is known as vidvan. Yuktaha samacharan. Yuktaha, he is established in that, he is one with that divine. Therefore, you need to do whatever you have to do. See, in the case of Sri Ramakrishna, we see that Sri Ramakrishna was himself married, and he demonstrated that in married life, one can surely live a harmonious life. There is no doubt. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, in Bengali, he used to say that I have made the caste and you pour yourself in it. मैं साचा बना चुका हूं और साचे में अपने जीवन को डाल दो. That means I have made this caste. When a sculptor wants to make a brass or bronze image, first of all he makes a cast and then he pours in the material or the liquid, and then it comes out. So he says, I have made the cast, you now pour yourself into it. Joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yuktaha samacharan. Engage in all action. So what does this mean by all action here? Action is of two types. One is what we know as good karma, and the other is bad karma. That means vikarma. The good karma is of two kinds. One is known as sakama karma, and then the other is known as nishkama karma. I'll explain that now. And then vikarma is in the fourth chapter. We come to that. That means bad karma is that which is viparita karma. That means doing opposite of what I am supposed to do. That is called as vikarma. And the other is akarma. That means performing actions which are not useful at all. Doing things wrongly and doing something which is not useful, which is not helpful to anyone. That is known as the bad action. And then good karma is sakama. That means performing the worship and then prayers, etc. The yajna, yaga, and other things, the sacrifices, etc. They are good, but it is not the absolute. Then comes nishkama karma. That means seva, service to others, ishvara pranidhana. That means dedicating oneself to the divine. This karma unites us. This good karma unites us, whereas this bad action, it dissipates us, it diverts us, and it takes us away from truth. That is the idea. So he says, Krishna says here, Vidvan yuktaha samacharan. Therefore, you perform your actions in such a manner that will bring good to you, to others, to the whole universe. And by that, you will go along with the others. You will take along with you the others as well. That is the responsibility, we can say, or that is the type of work a realized soul or an illumined soul does.